Hey, come catch this wave with the Fix Squad. The Fix is in. I'm Mr. Soul, I'm tuning in. What you doing?
Stand up. James left, but the king still reigns here. No tears, no love lost, no rain here. Delivers, I promise, Santa reign here. Love for the city still resides here. Fix for your ailment, faith that resides outside the lines. Detox your mind, cause it matters. Art outside the box, we pace better. The fix is in, and we rock a channel. We rock with them for what's deep within. Expose those who talk but don't live. Expose those who talk but don't live. Take offense, judge by the fruit from the tree. But if the fruit
Welcome back. You're tuned back into The Fix, your source for faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry, right here on SiriusXM, channel 154, Holy Culture Radio. You know what time it is. It's time for our spiritual detox, and we in for a treat today, y'all. Listen, we talk about get that money right, get your real estate right, understanding how to invest, understanding how to make a little change on the show all the time. So I'm excited because, listen, we got a real estate agent on, a licensed real estate agent on right now who has been doing it at a high level. Let's be very clear. She might come in and help you out and change your whole trajectory on how you even looking at that investment property and how you can get the value of that property up really, really quick. Listen, she got a new hit show on HGTV that's doing some crazy numbers already. So listen, without further ado, help me welcome in my sis, Paige Turner from Fix My Flip. What's going on, sis?
Listen, I'm so happy to be here with you this morning. You know, I have no poetry for you. I have no rhymes for you.
You ain't got no bars. I feel like you got some bars. I feel like it might be a little love song in you. You ain't released yet.
For the love of money. What's that from? New Jack City?
Yeah, for the love of money. No, we appreciate you. No worries. And you don't have to. That's the beautiful thing about it. When we have this segment, we bring a little bit of everybody on, entrepreneurs, athletes, everybody. So it's not just artists that we sit down and talk to because we want to keep our culture and our people up to date on everything. Listen, you got something powerful going on. I do want to ask though, if you could share just a little bit of your faith journey, how you kind of created your own relationship with God first.
You know, I said a little jokey joke, for the love of money. It's, you know, the song, the old school song from, I didn't mean like, you know, we all know that it's the love of money that's the root of all evil.
Let's listen. We I ain't gonna date ourselves, but we in the same era. Don't get it twisted. The OJ's was the whip. That we ain't gonna hold you on that. That's a classic. Timeless music is timeless music.
I wasn't talking about scripture at that moment, but my faith journey, you know, I gave my life to the Lord when I was 19. Grew up in an agnostic house, although I did go to Catholic school, but it was all confusing back then. I didn't know who they were talking about between Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, Jesus. And so it wasn't until I was 19 and independent of my mother's house and Catholic high school that I found the Lord. And, you know, it's my man. I've been right by his side ever since. And I carry that into all the doors that God has either opened for me or the tables that I've had to build myself. Just like Noah had to build that ark. I'm like, well, listen, Noah could do it, I could do it. So my faith is my anchor.
How hard is that though, to be honest? Because I love the fact that you talked about you walk in every door, you try to represent that you are a believer and that you're trying to do things the Christian way. But let's be very clear. We know from a business standpoint, sometimes that can be a little challenging because people, you know, you are a high value, powerful woman who's doing powerful things. So I know when some boardrooms you walk in, you intimidate men. Let's be very clear. We're not going to run away from the elephant in the room. So does that get challenging at times?
Every day, the world challenges my faith and sometimes my existence as far as my purpose goes. Because if you heard me say that, you know, because of my faith, it's every door that God has opened for me, I've walked through, but I've also had to build my own tables, which means there were doors that would not, and may not ever open for me. And that's fine because I know where my source is. And then as far as intimidation comes from with men and women, because, you know, it swings both ways. Every day I have to re-ground myself in faith and remind myself who I am in him first. And sometimes 5 times a day, maybe even 10 times a day, because that's how trying this industry is. And whatever industry that is, if you're not sitting amongst people who believe like you believe and speak like you speak, then there's always going to be some kind of war there. warring all the time in the spirit. And sometimes I say, unfortunately, fortunately, because I'm equipped to do it. Unfortunately, I'm a soldier for the Lord. And, which means I'm constantly in this spiritual fight, because I understand we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. So I have to pull the page back and say, hold on, girl, check yourself. Now, sometimes it is just people, but most times it's spiritual.
That's good. Thanks for sharing that too as well. And we'll be praying for you, because yes, I know that could probably be challenging. Let's talk about it. Listen, this is not your first walk on TV. I got to backtrack a little bit. Let's take us back to Tennessee and where you kind of started with your first show to where you are now. Catch the people who may never have heard of you up on how long you've been doing this.
Well, you guys, I, by faith, wrote an email to a production company and was on the network a year later, back in 2016, when I was living in Nashville, raising my girls. And that show was called Flip or Flop Nashville. I was part of a franchise, of the whole Flip or Flop franchise that started out here in California. Once I graduated my last daughter from college, living and raising them in Nashville, I said, it's time to go back home to LA. Came back home to LA. My partner and I created a new show for me called Fix My Flip, pitched it again, just like I did. I said, well, listen, God, if you did it before, you can do it again, right? What Ty Trippett said, so let's do it again. I did it again, and it worked again. Got another show on HGTV, and that's how we've come to now season 2 of Fix My Flip on HGTV.
Yes. I appreciate you sharing that. Can you talk about the challenges, though? I know it had to be challenges when you first started and when you first got into this, especially when you were doing Fix My Flip. I mean, Flip or Flop.
Yeah. So, yeah, Flip or Flop. The network was different then. I was one of none, probably, Black women on the network.
Right.
And, the challenges were real, from something that might seem as minute as hair and makeup, having a person who doesn't do Black skin or Black hair come in. And I don't care if they're white, Hispanic, whatever. If you ain't Black, or you've never touched Black hair or Black skin, that's problematic, because I have melasma. I have a hyperpigmentation condition. It was challenging, and that's just on the surface, but then, it goes deep in this industry on any network that you're on. I'm Black, I'm a woman, I'm older. I'm not too old, but I'm not too young. I just actually turned 50 a couple of weeks ago, which is a whole other episode for you. But, it's challenging every day, because especially on a network that doesn't do this, because I can do that, I have to remind myself, okay, well, what are your goals for being on this network? And then there's a challenge of part of this is me, though, so you gotta let me be me at the same time. So it's constant. Listen, it's a daily battle with that. Am I taking this too far? Because I'm also not going to neglect the Black side of me.
Right.
And I don't want to be too white. Am I too Black? It's a constant battle every day. So then I'm like, well, sometimes I just got to be me.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I appreciate you sharing that. And I'm glad that you brought up the Black side of you, because I have to ask. I know you
kind of Black. I'm 100% Black.
Right. Well, here's my thing, though. Absolutely. You're 100% Black. You worked in a dynamic that I don't know too many Black women would do. Let's be very clear. You worked with somebody you had a relationship with, and you guys split, and it was like, okay, we're no longer together, but somehow you guys figured a common ground to where y'all could still work together. I'm gonna be honest with you. Listen, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. We don't do that here. I don't care how much money involved. We ain't doing that. If we ain't together, we ain't together. So please tell us about that.
I am a Black woman, but by racial chemistry, my mother's white. So that might be the white side coming out of me.
Priceless.
Keep it real.
The bottom line is we ain't messing the money up.
We're not gonna mess with the money. Sometimes I walk on the sidewalk without my shoes. Sometimes my other side creeps out. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was hard, and but it was opportunity, and it was. I think it was great to shift that dynamic of who we are culturally, or typically culturally, like, oh, we don't do that. That's something I would say outside of people like, I could never work with my ex, but in reality, we did not work well together in a relationship, but we were still working in real estate together. We barely spoke, but he was a great builder, great contractor, and I was a great realtor and designer. So we barely spoke, but we would get those contracts done.
Wow. Listen, you tuned into The Fix right here on SiriusXM Channel 154, Holy Culture Radio. DJ Focus, we got to go to a quick break. Don't touch that dial. We coming right back with more from Paige Turner. Keep it locked. You're tuned into The Fix. You know The Fix is in.
Radio. We're not just background noise. We play the music that inspires you because every song has a story. Christian hip hop and R&B music and talk on SiriusXM Channel 154, 24 hours a day. Holy Culture Radio is changing the game. Discussions about faith, arts, vocation, and education. We talk about the real issues that affect our communities and work together to find solutions. Join the discussion at holyculture.net and be heard.
Welcome back, DJ Focus. You tune back into The Fix right here on SiriusXM Channel 154, Holy Culture Radio. We still have the super talented real estate agent, Paige Turner, on the line with us. So, Paige, let's talk about it. How did you even get involved in even having an interest in doing real estate and everything that you do?
You know, it's a great question. Before I moved to Nashville, born and raised in LA again, I worked for Magic Johnson for many years. And one of my...
Wait a minute. She's just going to drop the mic and you going to just tiptoe. So, you know, I'm a sports fan and you arguably in the top 5 of greatest ever to do it. By the way, I just worked for Magic Johnson and, you know, okay, I'm sorry, carry on.
That's so LA, right? My best friend's father was Quincy Jones. It's fine. Anyway, so, you know, my dad did all the glasses for Sammy Davis Jr. It's okay. So anyway, you know, and it just, so what we were doing, we were scouting locations for movie theaters to plant in urban neighborhoods. That's what Urban's vision was, Mr. Johnson's vision was. Mm-hmm. And we did one out here in LA in the Baldwin Hills area.
Y'all did one right here in Cleveland, Ohio, too, as well, at Randall Park Mall. Yes, you did.
Did one in Cleveland. And so during that time, long story short, I ended up in Nashville and I couldn't believe how nice the people were there. But so Ken Lombard, who was the COO at the time, my immediate manager, he was like, you know, you should get your real estate license. We're looking at all these properties. And so I started real estate classes in Los Angeles. And then about a year later, moved to Nashville, left my whole LA life behind, moved with my kids. And I remember what Ken said to me. And I said, I'm not really quite sure what that means to get your real estate license. I'm gonna look into it. I have 3 babies, single mom. Child, I still ain't seen $1 in child support or even babysitting support, you know, so I had to figure out a way to
Well, I can't go past that. Oh my goodness. There you go. There you go.
Cleveland. I'm gonna date men from Ohio because of him. He's from Cleveland.
Is he really?
Yes. You know where he is. Now listen, my kids are 28, but if you know where he is, just tell him to holler at him.
Oh wow. So how is that being? So no, I want you to finish telling that, but you got to interject a little bit. How has that been? How did that impact your kids? So you know you don't have a father that obviously you said never involved. How did that impact your kids?
Maybe 10 times in the first 18 years they saw him. I mean, it impacted them. You know, I thought I kept them on a straight and narrow growing up. I would try to be very open, saying, listen, if you're having daddy problems, let me know. We'll get help. We'll talk about it. And my dad died when I was 8, but I was a daddy's girl. They didn't have that. And so they all have the same dad, in case anybody wonders how many baby daddies. There's just one. I have twins, so I had a 2 for 1. I have 3 kids total. And so, you know, but I see it impacting them now as adults. And it's harder now dealing with them as adults than it was dealing with them as children. So it's hard. I mean, it's jacked up because I'm going to go make my money. You clearly look at where we are. My kids and I have never been without, even in my, because they didn't know, deepest, darkest parts of my struggle being a single mom. We never missed a meal, never had to sleep in the car, you know, so I always kept it moving. They always had everything they wanted. But they missed that father part. I miss it, even with my dad dying. I mean, I know there's a big gap in my decisions and how I date and how I roll. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, Daddy, if you would have just stayed around a little bit longer, you know what I'm saying? I could have learned some more. So it was hard, and it's still hard for them.
Wow.
Because now, DJ Focus, he's creeped back around. That's my problem. But I got to let it go. Not my business.
Yeah. Well, yes. I agree. You got to let it go and let God be God. And I pray that he's being genuine. If he is back around, we talk, and I speak so highly about it because I struggle because we need to stop not having black men in the households with the families. That's why I get so mad at. Love my brother Nick Cannon, but I disagree with you. You keep having all these babies and you have all these different mothers, but you only one dad. You cannot be in all those houses. So you have all these kids where you only have a little circle, a pool of time to get them all together to say, yeah, y'all brothers and sisters. Now it's weird. We starting to create our own rules.
Yeah,
I love, yeah, I want to get it back to the old school ways. No, we need to be in our households. I
But
just
let
think
me
a
say
kid
this.
needs both kids. I mean, needs both parents in the household. I just do.
He needs both parents, and also what Nick Cannon is doing is creating. Even though each woman can make her own decision, all those women aren't going to be stable. Let me just say
Yes,
that.
they're
I've
not.
been a first-time mom. Those first 5 years are crucial to how the rest of your life is going to pan out. Because if that emotional just blow up happens for one day too long, it's a wrap for you.
Facts.
So
Facts.
those women they're not all honky dory. I put money on it.
No, I'll put money on it too as well. And shouts out to you, Nick. If you're listening, we definitely want to get you on and hear your side and have you talk about it. You know how we do it over here. So we got called out before like that. So I got to make sure I said, Nick, if you're listening, you know how to get a hold of me. Let's do it. Let's talk about it, man to man. So come on now. Listen, I'm gonna hold you to that. Listen, you know I hit Ray. Ray Paige says she gonna hop on.
I'll be right here.
So for someone who is looking to invest in rental property, walk us through just buying that rental property and being able to fix it up like you do on your show.
Well, the first thing I would thank you for that question. It's a great question. The first thing I would say is, find a mentor, find an investor who's already invested in the area that you want to purchase in, and ask them, hey, can I shadow you? Can I just sit you down, pay for your time, buy you some dinner, and just really learn from you? Learning from a Google search or a .com or someone on TikTok, that's not the way to learn real estate, because I promise you they're telling you wrong. So find a mentor, find somebody who you can learn from. And then find a realtor, find a realtor who knows how to comp well, who actually sells investment properties and can guide you in that as well. And once you build your team and you get your lender and you figure out how you're going to source your finances, whether it's through hard money lending, which I'm not opposed to, if you have to mortgage your house, borrow, if you feel like this is where God is leading you, then God will direct you to the finances, because he did it for me. I didn't have anything and I flipped my first house. Every time I look back, like, how did I do that? Well, I mean, I know God did it. And that's how I really got my start with building wealth by purchasing real estate. So find a mentor, learn how to do comps yourself, read off the internet, maybe go to the library and really start reading some good books on investing and how to, and set your team up and go for it.
That's big. Was there ever a moment, a property you purchased that you were a little skeptical about, like, this might be too much to take on? Should I buy it? This area, the value really ain't popping like I really want to pop. Like, should I bust this move?
Yeah, actually, it just happened last year. I'm very transparent, focused. So it happened last year. Here I am. I've been on a ton of HGTV shows, second, investment, show. And I purchased a property that was outside of my zone. And I did not have anybody inside of that market to truly guide me, because I was like, oh, and I am a numbers person, but where I failed in this flip, the flip was a good investment. Where I failed in it is that, because I thought I was going to sell it real quick, but the market changed real quick about last March or April. And I got an offer on it that was $50,000 under my list price, and I should have taken it. But the really unbelief that the market was changing at that point, I was like, no, I'm going to hold out. So I held out 3 months later, ended up taking $100,000 less just to get rid of the property. So wow. I went against my experience. I knew, like, if this has been on the market for, I think it was like 30 days at the time, this is an investment property. My holding costs for $5,000-$6,000 a month, California, $5,000-$6,000 a month. So I should have just let it go. So yeah, I've had a couple of those. That one recently, the rest of them were earlier in my career, just buying stuff to be buying it. And I shouldn't have, just wasn't sound.
How patient do you have to be in your game? Because I have to imagine, you buy some properties and they might not, like you said, might not sell right away. So like, can you talk about being patient and understanding the process in that?
You know what I think is more important than being patient? Being realistic. Because especially in this market, the market's changing week by week. Right now, we've gone up 6 points on the interest rate. We are historical lows for the last couple of years, 2-3%. Which will never get back down there again. Now we're, in the 6% range, which is not the end of the world. I know when people are new in this business, they're like 6%, don't buy a house. I bought my first house at 8.5% in 2003. There's nothing wrong with 6%. It's just that the cost of homes are really high right now, but they're ticking down. Ohio's doing really good though. Like the whole state.
Yes, I know. We winning. I hate that you had this the trauma of the situation, the toxic relationship, but I was gonna tell you.
I'm not gonna win in Ohio. Can't nobody win in Ohio. Not investment properties, not flips. Nobody can win it. I'm just kidding, Ohio. I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. We definitely win it here. We praying for you.
Great. So I would, just say that you have to be realistic with markets, and that your house may not be worth what you thought it was going to be worth when you first started your flip.
What's that one thing you would change? You've been around the game long enough, especially when you talk about in real estate. If you could change something, you had the power to change something, what would you change?
Well, I would change the education that Black people don't get about building wealth in real estate. And I'm not just talking about only, average, income buyers or even investors. I'm talking about people with money. There are athletes, entertainers who make millions of dollars and only buy their one big house. They'll spend $3-5 million on their mansion, but not own any investment properties. So I would change it seems so simple. And that's one of my quests right now. Like, I am going to change that landscape and show people from A to Z, from, the lower end of wealth to the wealthy, how to build wealth in real estate, because we're just not taught.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. I think we need to be educated more. That's why I'm grateful you came on the show today to talk about it. Listen, I got to ask you a music question, because yes, we do music here. So I'm gonna give you, if you could pick. So I'm gonna give you two. One, I'm gonna give you the gospel question, and two, I want to give you the mainstream question. So I'm gonna give you the R&B question first. Give me your top 3 R&B groups of all time.
Top 3 R&B groups of all time. I'm going to say just a group, not an artist, a group.
Because I want to challenge you a little bit. Groups, yeah, because I know you know music.
Yeah, so we're gonna do Jodeci. All time. Oh, that's so hard. We're gonna do Jodeci.
Yeah, come on. You got to go somewhere in Motown too. Don't play no games. You got to go somebody in Motown.
Hold on, focus. Now I told you my mother's white. My daddy died when I was 8.
You still have some Motown in your household. I can't believe.
I wasn't. This is honest to God. My connection is. I honor it now.
Wow.
But, I grew up with New Edition. I grew up with. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. New Edition. I go New Edition.
Okay, so but I mean, I can go back. I know all the songs, but I'm an 80s baby. I was born in the 70s, but I was really into music in the 80s, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to throw them in there as well. Who am I missing, Focus? You really put me on the spot. I'm gonna say
I kind of feel like I know who you're gonna say.
Who do you think I'm gonna say?
Guy. If you said Jodeci and New Edition, got to be Guy.
But see, then I would go back to Teddy Riley is one of the greatest producers of all time to me.
Facts. That's why you pick. That's why you pick Guy.
Yeah. I'll go with Guy.
Okay, so give me your 3 top gospel artists of all time.
Well, I just about daily I listen to them. Right now, of all time.
All time.
This is my all time though.
Yes. This is your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Todd Delaney. He is a beast because all he does is sing scripture, which is also brilliant with publishing. So I'm going to say Todd Delaney. I'm going to say Tasha Cobbs. Love me, Tasha. She's always going to take you in. And William Murphy.
Oh, that's a cheat code. Tasha and William work together all the time. Listen, that's a 2-for-1 when you show up at day church.
It sounds the same, but they have the same spirit, but yes. those are my go-tos. Now Todd Galbraith too. He's my 4th go-to. I have some serious go-tos going on.
Listen, we appreciate you this morning, Paige. Can you tell the people how they can watch your show, how they can connect with you and follow you on all your social media platforms?
Absolutely. Please, y'all, come celebrate with me every Thursday night. Prime time. We got a sister on prime time. HGTV. My show is called Fix My Flip. It airs at 9/8 Central. And you can follow me on Instagram at Paige Turner Unlimited.
Listen, we appreciate you, sis. Listen, keep it locked. We got to go to a break. We coming back with more. You're tuned into The Fix. You know The Fix is in.